Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to another Nacho Tuesday here. And today I have Brant here with Knowledge Anywhere. And without further ado, we'd love if you could introduce your company and what you guys do over there.
Hello, everyone. Andy, thank you for having me. Thank you for having Knowledge Anywhere participate here today. So Knowledge Anywhere is a company that was founded in 1998. We come from a background with our founder that was in a large corporation. He was someone who had to fly across the country to participate in training activities in person and got tired of that. He had small children at the time and decided, I think there's a better way. And early days of the internet, decided let's put this online and see how that goes. And here we are 25 years later, and having been blessed to support many world-class organizations and many very meaningful opportunities to support them over the years. So very happy to be a part of this organization and all the great things that we're able to do to support our customers.
Awesome. Yeah. And I know retaining knowledge is a big issue, especially for larger companies as they continue to grow. I guess what kind of strategies would you offer for retaining and organizing knowledge within an organization, especially during those high growth stages?
Yeah, so I think there's building blocks here. So positive outcomes for me always begin with establishing a good foundational plan. If I were to borrow an analogy, I would say that in order to reach your destination, you need to know the route you're going to take first. You need to plan. We're going to stop to get gas, refreshments, and so forth. The same can be applied to organizational knowledge transfer and retention. First, you need to know your audience. Then you need to establish what your business's challenges are and what you're seeking to solve, and then understand the root causes for failure or underperformance. Once you know these things, you can build a curriculum strategy that addresses where knowledge gaps may be contributing to your challenges or missed opportunities. I think it's important to understand what your KPIs are going to be. For example, are you looking to increase sales? Are you looking to lower customer service complaints and so forth? And then once you have established your key metrics, you need to also have an effective way to measure and report on those. So an example I would use is if you're looking to increase revenue, uh, look at how the delivery of a sales curriculum, for example, could be measured to then compare against success rates. So, does a completion rate, for example, correlate to higher sales growth or assessment scores or other metrics that you might be able to gather through the training initiatives. So, and also, I think it's important to note too that that training is an evergreen cycle, and it's not just an event. It's not a one and done kind of thing. You need to look at it as something that will build upon itself over time.
Definitely. And specifically, how does Knowledge Anywhere help organizations with this problem?
So we have a wide spectrum of customers that we work with, and they all have their own unique challenges. So we'll often sit and based on our experiences, and knowing what common challenges can be, at least in the learning spectrum of things, but we help to have them understand what their objectives are, what problem are they trying to solve. Look to set benchmarks and goals for those things, and then show them how they can use our platform to gather information to support progress towards those goals. Again, I think it all comes down to having a sense of where you're starting from and where you want to get to, and everything in between becomes part of executing on a plan.
Definitely. And what are some of these common challenges, I guess, that you see organizations face when they're trying to leverage LMS data for strategic decision making?
Yeah, so it's similar to some of the points I was stating there a second ago, but understanding business objectives, I think, is number one. So if they don't understand what their objectives are, you're just sort of throwing spaghetti against the wall. Not paying attention to the data. So taking the set it and forget it kind of methodology where we have some required training, we're going to put it on this platform, put it out there and say, get it done, take it, and then not pay any mind to it afterwards, could lead to almost certain failure. And then finally, not taking action. So if you are not monitoring your training initiatives and making adjustments to adapt to changing circumstances, you're likely not going to have the most successful program. If you don't take the time to understand the effectiveness of your training against your business objectives, then you're likely not going to drive positive change to move the needle on those things that you're trying to drive for. So it's common for us to see where companies have decent plans, anywhere from good to decent plans for implementation of a learning platform and learning curriculum. But it's less common for us to see organizations that have the stamina to maintain their training programs. So if I were to give one piece of advice, I'd say put as much effort into the ongoing maintenance of your curriculum as I would just simply getting it established.
Yeah, so it sounds like a lot of people like to set it and forget it, just one and done, and just check the box, and just leave it be from there.
Yeah, that can be a common issue.
I see. Yeah. So I guess how can organizations ensure their data is actionable? Do you have any tips for how to structure that data in a way where it is meaningful and they can take action upon it?
Yeah, so I think when I think about it, it is that an LMS is a part of an overall ecosystem of data that an organization has, right? So you're going to have learning data, and then you're going to have like sales metrics, customer support metrics, marketing metrics, and so forth. And it's how you can take those different data points and correlate them together to try and determine whether or not you have an effective cause and effect. So, can you say, for example, uh, that the training I'm delivering to transfer product knowledge about a new product is translating into customers calling into customer success teams less frequently because they're better educated on what that is, or that my customer success team is better informed so they can help support and solve customers problems better. How can you gather those data points and then put them together? And I think that's key, not only to know that your investments in training are leading to the outcomes that you want to see, but also that you are um, having a full picture of the uh, the ecosystem of your business. So again, knowing that if I deliver training and I can replicate a best performer in that role, and have that shared with many other individuals, that I can also drive overall growth or positive influence on key areas of my business.
Nice. So
So. Mhm.
I guess so you're measuring like the top performers. That's kind of an indicator of success for your learning programs. I guess what other LMS metrics are indicative of an organization's success with their learning management programs?
So there's a few different things that you can do there. There's kind of a pyramid of metrics that I would say, and think of it like a food pyramid where you have your most basic things at the bottom and you work your way to the more specific things at the top. So looking at elements like simply participation, right? So you have an audience of 100 people, are all 100 getting in there, participating in their required training? What are your completion rates? What is the timeliness of when they're getting their assigned activities completed? Uh, so, for example, if you have certain requirements or due dates set on something, are they getting it done on time, or are they lapsing on that? Are they coming back to complete their ongoing training and their recurring recertifications on things? And then at the top of things, I would say it comes down to engagement for me. So there's a spectrum to me of simply participating is because I'm required to. On the other end of it is people that actually care and they find value in being there, that they actually see that this has positive impact on their job, and it makes their job easier, or it makes them more successful. It helps them advance their career, whatever their individual case may be. But indications of engagement could be things such as the time that they are spending within the training, interacting with their learning activities, the fact that they may be sharing things to places like their LinkedIn to express their achievement. And then also to any sort of gamification that may exist where there's a competitive aspect that shows that I'm trying to reach the pinnacle of a benchmark that compares me to others in my similar situation. So that's a few of the things that I would consider to be key metrics that an LMS can provide you. There's some cases where businesses have unique data points that they want to gather, and our system allows you to customize all those fields, and then that in turn provides additional opportunities for reporting and tying information together, such as regions, for example, or specific job roles or skill sets.
Interesting. So you mentioned participation is kind of a key aspect of all this. What other motivational strategies do you have to get people more excited to learn and actually participate in these programs? You mentioned gamification was a big one, right? So you get that whole reward feeling that you're achieving different levels. Do you have any other? Would you like to expand on any tips and tricks around that?
Yeah, so I think a couple things. One is certifications and certificates, right? People still like to have that sort of virtual diploma for something to show that they've actually achieved a milestone of sorts, especially if it's a larger program and not something just like a mandatory training initiative. Uh, there's a badging system that we use, which kind of falls into that gamification piece where there's certain level up achievements that can be attained. So you again have that sort of drive to say, well, if I complete this, I'll get this achievement that I can put onto my email signature or other various places that can help them to promote the fact that they have achieved something. The other part of it is also comes down to how you market your training. So if you just are a top-down type of organization who say this is mandatory training, go take it just because you have to, the willingness is not going to be as much there. But I think if you promote it that this is going to help you achieve the company goals, which in turn can come back to you some way personally, either through bonuses or something like that. That certainly helps. And then there's other ways that companies we've seen will use like point systems where completing certain training events can lead to points, and those points can be cashed in for various rewards. So it comes down to the audience a little bit too. Are you talking about an employee audience or a customer audience? But I think finding those motivations to drive engagement is much more key than just demanding that they participate.
Yeah, nobody likes to be told what to do, right?
Yeah, you end up with resistance that way.
Yep. Yeah. So every program's a little bit different, but a lot of it comes back to the motivation that people are getting from participating in the program, and everyone's got their different motivations. So as long as you understand that, be able to overcome that leap, I guess. I guess how can LMS data help personalize learning experiences? What impact does that have on the business outcomes if you could actually take that data and help personalize it on an individual basis?
Yeah, I like this one because I think there's a few layers to this onion that I get come to mind. So first thing is what administrators can do. So people that are in charge of these learning programs to personalize an individual learner's experience. So number one, I'd say is to understand who your audience is and to create learning paths that pertain to those individuals, what their job role is, what their skill sets are, what your objectives are for them. Uh, Avoid creating situations where coming into a learning catalog can be overwhelming and just filled with superfluous training objects that don't necessarily pertain to their job role.
Yep.
That'll be a turnoff, right? It'll just overwhelm them. Uh, The other thing is to survey the audience, understand their opinions and attitudes toward the training you are providing them. Is it meeting the mark, right? You may feel like this is what they need, but in fact, in the real world, they need something different. So have that 360 loop to get that information from them. And then lastly is just continually make adjustments to adapt to changing circumstances. So that goes back to that notion of maintaining your curriculum on an ongoing basis.
Yeah.
In addition to things that can be done from an administrative perspective, there are other ways that the platforms can get involved. So with the emergence of AI and the buzzword that is, and all the things that come with it, we have this concept called intelligent recommendations. So, for example, people that take courses like you or that have similar attributes to you also take these courses. So maybe exposing things that they would otherwise not know of. Um, Looking at ways that interventions can be provided based upon individual course performance. So if you assess poorly on something, and maybe in a very specific area of an assessment, we could point you back to targeted areas of training rather than saying, well, you just need to go take that whole course again. And then aligning skills to training activities. So someone can mark in, here's the skills I have, here's the skills I want. And based upon the delta there, we can say, here's the courses that you should take. And then I think really important also, and this has been a trend for a while, but is breaking things down into micro courses. No one wants to sit through an hour-long training or multiple hour-long trainings. They want 10-minute knowledge nuggets that they can easily consume and move on from. So, and then last thing I think I would add to this is that with technology, there's a lot of opportunities to have the technology enable personalization. But I would say be cautious about that and at least relying too much on it. That the real world has a lot of variables that algorithms can't always account for. And you don't want to run the risk of alienating a user by creating a distrust in what they're being provided or recommended. So I think it takes a careful combination of both human curated and system assisted pieces.
Yeah, that's a good point. Sometimes people want to rely too much on automation and lacks that personalization touch to it, right? If you depend on it too much. So it sounds like a lot of people need to keep up to date always, to figure out the motivation factors, like how do you get people actually motivated to want to engage. Three, keep people, give people nugget sized tests, so they can learn like piece by piece instead of like in bulk. And then the fourth would be personalization as much as possible, right? So ensuring that people feel like the training is personalized to their needs and gives them the skills that they actually want, as opposed to like some general tests that they're forced to take, because their
Yeah.
boss told them to.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, if I might interject one more thing, that personalization is also achieved through empowering your learners, that you help them drive their learning journey versus it being, again, the organization driven. So you can put out there the content that is required or that can be accessible to them, but let them explore, let them find the learning that suits their needs in the moment. So an example I would use is if you have a fixture, a sink fixture that you need to replace, what are you likely to do? Go to YouTube, go to Google, and search and find the solution of how to do something like that. The same applies here in corporate training, where people are busy. They need to find the solutions to their problems, and then move on, rather than spend hours upon in training. So treat it as a job assistance tool as much as it is a knowledge transfer tool.
Definitely. And how important is it for the executive participation, right? Nobody likes to be told to do something that they don't see that their peers or their, more importantly, their bosses are doing as well too, right? As I say, monkey see, monkey do. Do you
Mhm.
think that's important as well?
I do. I think if if it does not have the support of the leadership teams, that it's hard to say that everyone below would have the motivation. It comes back to that again, right?
Yeah.
And I think you lead through example. So those that are in charge should not only help explain why certain things are. I mean, I guess this applies to anything in a business, right?
Mhm.
Explain why that we're doing something and what end it is meant to serve. Then also practice what you preach, right? Dog food it a little bit. You're part of it just as much as anyone else, and that we all or no one has the arrogance that they can't learn something new. That even those that are at the top and that supposedly have the experience and have achieved, that they can't also get more from spending some time in some curated content as well.
Yeah, that's a great point too. And I think it goes back to the whole set it and forget it notion that causes a lot of these programs to fail in the first place, right? So, you know, having, everybody in the organization actively involved and utilizing it's going to encourage other people to do so too. I guess, can you share any examples of organizations that have successfully aligned their LMS data with their business goals and achieved a measurable ROI from that?
Yeah, so we have a very well-known customer that's in the automotive industry, and uh, they specifically target individuals that are responsible for automotive service. And part of their learning platform is targeted at high school students with the objective to help guide them and give them a head start for those that may ultimately want to seek a career in automotive service.
Mhm.
This is a really important program for our customer because currently there's a big shortage in qualified labor to support this industry.
Yeah.
Um, in the case of this program, we have seen, uh, and this is not only our contribution, but it's also the commitment of our customer to this program. But we've seen that participation has steadily grown with high school students over the 5 or 6 years that this has been in place. But ultimately, the measurement of success is not specifically participation; it's conversion of those individuals into job roles they're being hired by this company to be in a service position. And we've seen over the a 5 year period or so that there's been an average annual increase of about 50% of converting individuals
Oh,
from
wow.
this high school program into a hired position. So it is a benchmark example of how training and early intervention can lead to meeting a business objective.
Wow.
It's one
That's
of our biggest success stories.
Yeah, that's a huge success story there. So I guess what other things should viewers today know about your company, and why should they pick up knowledge anywhere today and choose your platform?
Well, I'd say we are a veteran of the corporate learning industry. We've been around since 1998, over 25 years. Through that time, we've helped countless number of companies, both very large and very small. And so we're familiar with how to support organizations of any size. We have a lot of tenure and experience on our team that works with companies to understand their needs and to consult them to find solutions that best fit their situations. For us, it's our pride and joy is to find a tailor-made solution. So we're not a cookie cutter. We are a SaaS. We have a SaaS component to our business where we do license a industry-leading LMS platform, but we also support that with services that can enhance the ecosystem by developing custom courseware, providing off-the-shelf courseware, being a consultant to help develop curriculum, to ancillary learning tools that help to convert content that rapidly helps you get up and running on a platform. I think we're a well-rounded company that has many services that are value packed for our customers. And And we're also very pleased to say that most of our customers have a tenure with us of 8 years or more. So
Wow.
we find that if customers come on board with us, that we treat them right and they stick around.
Yeah, and it goes back to that personalization aspect that you mentioned earlier. It's you can't do the cookie cutter approach because everybody wants something custom to their needs, and
Yeah.
that's on the organization level, but also down to the individual level within that organization too. Yeah, sounds like you guys have had a very successful track record. So I guess what's next for you guys over the next 5 years?
Well, first and foremost, for me, is to maintain the culture and values that have allowed us to be in the industry for over 25 years. So I don't look to dramatically change anything about that because that has been our formula for success. But continuing to put our customers first, to seek to provide value as for what we do and everything that we provide to our customers, and but also at the same time looking to continue to innovate. We release new features and new techniques for learning several times a month. So we are constantly innovating. And while we keep an eye on emerging technologies such as AI, we take a semi-cautious approach to that. We're not going to jump on the bandwagon just because it's the latest buzz. We're going to look to make sure it's established and that it will again provide value and not actually distract from the core principles of transferring knowledge to individuals. There's a certain aspect of learning and training that are fundamental and that are human centric, and we want our solutions to align to that. So it's tough to say exactly what 5 years will look like. A lot can change between now and then, but we hope to continue to grow and find more great organizations to join our partnership.
And I like that you guys have that focus on the on people first, right? Knowing that knowledge is something for people that they want to accomplish themselves, right? And there's only so much automation that you could add to that. So I like your approach to AI, that you're not using it as like a replacement tool for everything. It's more of like an enhancement tool, which
Yeah.
is how I see a lot of other organizations successfully implementing it. So yeah, at the end of the day, I mean, what you guys do coming down to personalizing knowledge and training for people is it's really important that it's personalized, and I like that you guys take that approach. So I guess where can people learn more about your company and pick up your services today?
Yeah, so knowledgeanywhere.com is our primary point of communication. Um, you can also find us on LinkedIn, and uh, we'd love to talk to anyone who might be interested in things related to corporate learning. So yeah, we're out there. Come talk to us.
Awesome. And they're not just anywhere, they're at knowledgeanywhere.com. So
Exactly.
yeah, everybody, please check it out, knowledgeanywhere.com. They're a great partner of ours at NachoNacho. You could also grab them in the NachoNacho B2B SaaS marketplace. We have the best brands. And the reason for that is because we partner with great organizations like Knowledge Anywhere. Brant, it's been great having you on today. Once again, everyone, that's knowledgeanywhere.com, or you can grab it today in the NachoNacho B2B SaaS marketplace. Brant, once again, thank you for coming on today, and hopefully the weather turns nicer here in Seattle.
We'll cross our fingers. Thanks,
Yep.
Andy.
Yes.
Appreciate it very much.
Thank you. Bye. All right. There we go. Not too